Whatever your preconceived notions of group travel, today might be the day you start rethinking them. Our guest for this episode, perhaps like you, has long enjoyed solo travel. And she's good at it, professional in fact. But she recently decided to mix things up on a guided group tour, and we're delighted she's joining us to tell the tale. Because Jasmin Lankford is a woman who knows her way around storytelling. As a celebrated poet, an accomplished essayist, a travel video series host, and a social media marketing specialist at AAA, the Auto Club Group. Jasmin Lankford, welcome to Well Traveled with AAA.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
So excited to have you. So let's start with a bit about your independent traveler MO. What have you loved about exploring the world on your own, which is something you do personally and professionally, right?
Yes, it is. So for my professional travels, I work in social media marketing at AAA, the Auto Club Group. And one part of my job is hosting a travel video series. So I get to travel to all these different places around the country and showcase all the fun things to see and do that you can experience at a discount with your AAA membership. And in my personal life, I have traveled solo over the years, and I even lived abroad in Paris for a bit. I love that solo travel gives you the freedom to plan every part of your trip and be in control of your experience. I also feel like solo travel is an amazing opportunity to learn something new about yourself as you're learning about a new country and a new culture.
Too true. And conversely, what had some of your hesitations been about group travel?
Yeah, so my love of solo travel is exactly why I was hesitant about group travel. I was worried that having a planned itinerary would be too structured and wouldn't really give me the time to explore some of my own interests. Plus, I'm 29, so I wasn't sure if taking a guided tour was for my age group. But yeah, honestly, though, I feel like the same can be said about having a AAA membership and the misconception that it's only for your grandparents or your parents. That's not true.
Right. Well, so tell us a bit about the trip where you decided to test those hypotheses. Where did you travel and with what company?
So I took a 7-day trip to Prague, Vienna, and Budapest with Trafalgar. I really wanted to explore the art and culture of each city.
And once you set off and started experiencing these places with a group, what were your first impressions of that kind of travel?
I just felt so safe on this trip. I feel like it can be scary to travel as a Black person, honestly, anywhere in the world. And to be a Black woman traveling solo just adds more layers to it. So being with a group was really great. There was an instant connection between everyone, and age didn't even matter. It was so nice. Yeah, it was so nice to meet a bunch of new people who also love to travel. And I have no doubts that some of those women will be my lifelong friends because of this experience.
If you're interested in learning more about a Trafalgar guided vacation, AAA travel agents can help you find the best experience for you. They'll make sure you're getting the best value, exclusive AAA member benefits, and up-to-date travel information to help you plan your dream vacation. Visit AAA.com/travel to connect with a AAA travel agent. And in terms of the actual travel experiences, were there some big standouts for you?
One of the things that stands out, probably the best part of the entire trip for me, was getting to see one of the most beautiful libraries in the world. It was the Clementinum Baroque Library in Prague, also known as the National Library. I've been to Prague once before and I didn't get a chance to see it. So this time around, I planned ahead and I booked my ticket like 2 weeks in advance once I realized that we would have free time in the city. I'm a writer, and that's the core of who I am, and I love to read, so seeing this library was like a dream come true. That Baroque architecture just takes your breath away. So you're looking into this super long hall with tall wooden bookshelves that have these like spiral wood pillars with all these gilded carvings. It was beautiful. I had to ask our tour guide the distance of the hall because my brain literally couldn't comprehend what I was looking at. So the whole room is 135 feet long, and then in the middle, stretching the whole length of the room, there was this long row with a collection of huge gold and black globes. And the bookshelves, they were floor to ceiling. And there was a second floor for the shelves up high with some really elaborate gold leaf railings. Oh my goodness. And the ceiling, the dome ceiling, it was painted with murals with blue skies and fluffy clouds and angels. Plus, there was over 2,000 books in the library.
Wow.
Like some of them dating back to like the 18th century and even older. And, of course, the whole room had that old book smell that I can't even describe it, but if you know, you know.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that library is definitely a must-see for any book lovers, any creatives, but really just anyone that loves looking at gorgeous interiors that have been carefully preserved over centuries.
And so the fact that you were able to do that just on your own on a group tour raises an interesting point. If you had gone into this trip with fears of no downtime to explore, the experience must have dispelled them, right? Were there other moments along the way that proved others of your assumptions wrong?
Yes, definitely. So when we went to Vienna, we visited the Museum of Fine Arts, and going to museums in new cities is one of my favorite things to do when I travel. So I was kind of worried about experiencing that in a group. I really love art and design, but I like taking it in at my own pace.
Uh-huh.
But on this trip, though, so Trafalgar arranged a private tour of the museum, and there was an art historian there. His name was Sasha. He was an expert. He gave us so much added context to the pieces we were seeing, and he was great at answering questions from the group. So having that exclusive access to an art professional really added to the experience of the museum. And plus, we moved through the exhibits at a comfortable pace, so I was able to pause at the pieces that I really wanted to stop and study.
Yeah. And beyond the private tour and expert guidance, what did you love about that museum? And were the pieces that you wanted to stop and study pieces you had read about, new discoveries?
Yes. So one of the pieces was something that I read about. I love this piece so much. From further away, it kind of just looks like it's a painting in a gold frame. But then when you get up close, you can see the texture of stones. Like it was literally made out of gemstones, like marble and jasper.
Oh,
It was amazing. So let me just set the scene for you, okay?
please, I'm all ears.
The piece was a landscape scene with mountains in the background, and then there was a small village with big leafy trees, and then in the middle there was this little man walking on a bridge over a calm river. Oh, it was amazing. I feel like one of my favorite things about that piece and just art in general is how each piece of art can look different when you change your perspective. Like things aren't really as they seem, like there's depth here, but you have to be willing to lean in and really look for it. You have to take your time. You can't rush it.
Well, spoken like a woman who has spent some time studying design, I believe, right? Isn't that one of your side passions?
Yes, one of my side passions is studying interior design and floral design. So I love this stuff.
Getting ready to travel? Make sure you and your travel investment are protected with travel insurance so you can do more and worry less. For more information, visit AAA.com/travel insurance. Besides the person who guided you through the museum, who were some of the memorable locals you met along the way?
So in Vienna, we took a walking tour of the city, and our guide was named Petra. She was fabulous. She had straight blonde hair, and then she was wearing this long purple coat, which it made it so easy to find her in the crowd. But then she also had a matching purple purse. It was great. I was obsessed. So anyways, she was fabulous. On our walk, we saw the Hofburg Palace, St. Stephen's Cathedral, and so many other landmarks. And we made our way into like the busy part of the city where there were tons of shops and restaurants. So it was really cool to get information about Vienna right from somebody that's born and raised there.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely just a plus for group travel in general, because in each of the cities, we met several local specialists who shared detailed information about the history and culture of each of the places.
And we haven't talked about food yet. What were some of your most memorable meals from the trip?
Yes. Oh my goodness. In Budapest, we did a river cruise for dinner one night, and we had this amazing spread of traditional foods like goulash, stuffed cabbage, chicken paprika. The spread of the food was so colorful and everything was delicious. It was extra cool because the day before we had a cooking demonstration where we learned how to make goulash. So it was nice, yeah, to see the dish again and knowing the extensive time and care that's needed to make it.
And as the trip went on, how else did the group dynamic feel to you?
The group was wonderful. It honestly felt like traveling with a big family, and that family type of feel, it made it even more safe. Yeah, like I mentioned before, I'm typically traveling solo, so I'm glad I got to experience the safety and comfort of traveling with a group. And I feel like no matter who you are or what type of traveler you are, this experience is so worth it. And also, our travel director, Judith, she was a huge part of the group dynamic. She was this sweet little lady from Australia, and we're definitely friends on social media now. But she was just so knowledgeable about all the locations we visited, and she kept us on schedule. Plus, she was hilarious. So yeah, Judith just made the group trip feel so stress-free, and I'm really grateful for her guidance as being the director.
Are you enjoying Well Traveled with AAA? Subscribe to this podcast today and share your thoughts on ratings and reviews. As I understand it, you have your own sort of wardrobe tradition that you like to uphold when you're traveling. Could you share a bit about that with our listeners?
Yes, I can. I do. I have my own personal travel tradition, and it's basically just taking this one pair of cute, really flowy pants on every single trip. They are floral, and there's navy blue and browns and grays. And my friends, my family, they all know about my travel pants. So after this trip, I can officially say that they've made it to 10 countries, which is pretty cool. I'm so glad that this trip was the one that marks 10 countries, because being with a group this time around makes that milestone feel even more special. And now I have all these group photos where I'm wearing my travel pants and smiling so big with all my new friends.
Well, so now we know your pants are exceedingly well traveled. So what were some of your other early impressions of group travel?
So I realized that group travel is a stress-free experience, okay? I really loved leaving the details to someone else for a change and not having to worry about finding a hotel or needing transportation. We were in this gorgeous motor coach, and it made it so easy to get around. It was so comfortable, it was clean, and it had Wi-Fi. So shout out to our driver, RP, because he was so cool.
I love it. What does well-traveled mean to you?
So I think well-traveled means someone who is open to new experiences and those spontaneous moments that come when exploring a new city. On our trip, in addition to Prague, Vienna, and Budapest, we stopped in a bunch of little towns along the way. And one town was Bratislava, and it was so charming. First, we walked around as a group, and Judith gave us some facts about the area. And then we had free time to break off into smaller groups and explore. So while I was checking out some of the shops with some of the women in our group, another part of our group, they climbed this huge tower called Michael's Gate, and we ran into them and they're like, "It's amazing, go do it now." So yeah, they inspired us to take a hike up the 7 flights of stairs and get to see the whole city from this 360 view, because you can walk all the way around the tower. So you're seeing like all these buildings with terracotta roofs and chapels and Gothic cathedrals and a castle in the distance. So it was such a cool experience that we kind of just stumbled upon, really. So I feel like taking advantage of those impromptu adventures is definitely part of what makes someone well-traveled.
Well, I am sure that you yourself have inspired untold numbers of travelers to go hit the road, see cool things, maybe in some travel pants of their own. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You can find all of our interviews with other travel experts from around the world on the Well Traveled with AAA feed on iTunes and Spotify. We hope you'll rate us or leave a comment and let us know what you think. I'm Abby Kozolczyk. Thanks for listening.